Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. It is said, your body can stand almost anything. It is your mind that has to be convinced. The mind-body connect is not something that's new now. It's been spoken about often and elaborately by many speakers. The most common example that gets used is placebo effects. People being given sugar tablets or salt water injections still improve significantly in their health because they don't know that all they got was a sugar tablet. I think the most radical experiment done in placebo was when they were researching the effects of a embiotic cell in the brain for Parkinson's patients. And what they did is they had a group of people come in and they said that half of them would have the surgery and half of them wouldn't have the surgery. Then from the ones that were supposed to have a surgery, they further got divided into those that actually got the surgery and those who didn't. And the procedure involved drilling into the skull, these 4 different places into the skulls, to go in and to put in the particular cell that would help the Parkinson's patients. And so every single patient had these 4 holes drilled into their skull. But some of them, that's all they did. They just drilled those holes and no other procedure was done. And so incredible the finding. I mean, okay, a tablet to make you feel better from a headache is very different from actually curing a disease that's so well known and has such horrendous effects like Parkinson's. And they found that placebo effects work even for brain surgery. Those people who believed they had a procedure done on them had phenomenal improvements in their health. And the most extreme case was one patient who had had immense physical pain and had reduced her physical activities severely before the surgery, reports a few years after the surgery that she was able to hike and even ice skate. And she was one of the people who didn't actually have the procedure. She only thought she had the procedure. And so this beautiful quote, your body can stand almost everything. It's your mind that has to be convinced, is so true. And said in a different way, it's move the mind and the body will follow. Because your body hears everything that your mind says, and more than hears it, believes it. In the Hanuman Chalisa, there is a line, Nase roga hare sabapira japata nirantana hanumatabira. Those who chant the Hanuman Chalisa are freed from illness. And in fact, it's a well-known line in the Chalisa because Tulsidas Ji himself was very ill when he wrote the Chalisa and he wanted to feel better. And so how can by just chanting this mantra or this praise of the Lord can remove disease from our bodies? Because the power of our mind is that it can heal us. And if we tell it it can heal us, it does. It listens. Move the mind and the body will follow. But it's even more than that. It's even more than this placebo effect that instead of taking a medicine, I chant the Chalisa and it will have the same effect. Even though, interestingly, when you take a painkiller, the pain is still there in the body. The pain doesn't go away. It's just that the part of your brain that registers pain becomes numb, and so you don't feel it. And in a way, when we chant or when we lift our spirits in any way, remembering something good or getting involved in something we enjoy doing, that part of the brain that feels the pain is not being noticed as much. There was another very interesting story that was narrated about a monastery high up in the Tibetan mountains. A visitor who was there researching or lost and found himself in this monastery doesn't want to drink the water because he knows that they went and got the water from a nearby lake. And he thought, it's not been purified. Who knows how many germs, what kind of bacteria has been building up. The lake has been there for eons, exposed to all the elements. And so he was scared to drink it. But the monks would bring the water from the lake and they would keep it in the monastery, in the prayer room, and they would chant and they would chant. And at the end of the day, they would drink the water. And he just refused, and he was getting more and more sick. Eventually, when he was a bit better, he went to the lake and tested the waters and said, see, the water has this bacteria and that bacteria and it's not safe to drink. And the monk said, we didn't ask you to drink that water. And he said, of course you did. You got the water from here. And they said, but test the water that's on the altar in the prayer room after we've done the chanting. And he looked very apprehensively at them, but he did. And the water from the altar had none of the bacteria that was there in the lake, because the chanting had purified it. And it was in fact far more pure than what we would get out of most taps in cities. And this led Dr. Emoto of Japan to bring out this book on all this research that he did on water crystals, that the shape of the water crystal changes as per the thoughts being thought by people who are around that water. It's a well-known experiment. And Dr. Emoto talks about how thoughts change the configuration of water. And our body is made up of 70% water. When we chant the Hanuman Chalisa, our mind is steeped in devotion for an ideal devotee. It is inspired by a superhero kind of figure. The mind's thoughts are elevated and uplifted. And so, most definitely, it can heal us. Move the mind, and the body will follow. What we're thinking affects immensely our health at any given point in time. When somebody is going through a hardship, their immunity drops. Doctors know this as a well-known fact. We can continuously, is the word used, Japata Nirantana Hanumata. Nirantana means continuously. When we continuously chant the Chalisa, no disease comes to us. When we continuously think of the Lord, when we continuously stay inspired, when the mind continues to be in a state of health, the body will follow. Think about it.